All right, with us now is Senator Chris Coons, a Democrat from Delaware. And Senator, I just want to warn you, we are monitoring Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who is about to brief from the White House. If he makes any news from the podium there, we may dip in. So thank you for your patience on that.
Got it.
I think you were listening to Harry right there and feelings, Americans' feelings about the economy. There are other ways of looking about that also. In the recent CNN poll, we asked about your feelings of the economy: enthusiastic, optimistic, pessimistic, afraid. 29% pessimistic, 37% afraid. So that's not good. Obviously, people felt pretty bad during the Biden administration about the economy as well. My question to you now is, what is the Democratic plan now to reverse these feelings?
So, John, thanks for a chance to be on with you this morning on the 100th day of Trump's presidency. I had a town hall at home in Delaware this weekend. Hundreds of Delawareans came out, and they shared their concerns, their anger at what they see as the chaotic slashing of critical federal programs, their concerns that Republicans here in Congress are going to whack Medicaid and cut some of the vital social programs that they and their families rely on. Their concerns about Trump's failure to keep his promises to reduce prices, to solve the war in Ukraine and reach a just peace for Ukraine. Frankly, what I heard from the hundreds of Delawareans who came out was concerns about issues large and small. Democrats need to be united, need to focus on a few clear and strong issues where there's a sharp contrast between Democrats and what we would do to strengthen manufacturing, bring jobs back to America, and strengthen our economy, and our position in the world. What we would do to stand by Ukraine, what we would do to push back on the PRC, the People's Republic of China. What I've heard from small manufacturers and large in Delaware is anxiety and concern about the tariffs. What I've heard from constituents of all backgrounds in my state is alarm that Elon Musk and Doge has gotten into their personal information, and they're not happy with the impact on Social Security offices and service levels, and the impact on lots of programs that they rely on, whether it's for health care, education, or clean water.
You mentioned concerns you're hearing about the Republicans in Congress and Republican leadership. And we've got some new polling on this that I can put up here. If you ask Americans how congressional leaders are handling their jobs, 37% approve of the Republican leadership, 62% disapprove, but there's kind of an uh-oh for Democrats there. Voters feel even worse about you guys, Senator. So why is that? If they're so concerned about the Republicans, why are they even more concerned about you?
Frankly, Democrats are concerned that we lost the election last November and are looking for clear and strong voices to guide us forward. Sunday morning, I joined Hakeem Jeffries and Cory Booker, the senator from New Jersey and the minority leader from New York, on the steps of the Capitol as they launched a 12-hour live conversation with the American people. Millions of people listened or joined. Lots of members of Congress came and joined them on the steps, because what's happening here in the next couple of weeks, John, is Republicans keep grinding forward with their bill to slash tens of billions of dollars out of Medicaid. I think if we can mount a successful challenge here in Congress to these cuts to Medicaid, the American people will be reassured that we have the ability to change the course of what happens here in Congress in Trump's presidency. I'll also remind you that in more than 100 cases, federal courts have ruled that what President Trump has done is illegal or unconstitutional. At the town hall I did this weekend, our state attorney general joined us, the congressional delegation and governor, and she's leading several of these cases to challenge illegal and unconstitutional actions taken by the Trump administration so far in just 100 days.
I know you're very forward-looking now, Senator, and that's understandable, but there are books coming out over these few weeks about the Biden presidency and the end of the Biden presidency. There's an excerpt from a book from Jonathan Allen and Amy Parnes, fighting the fight inside the wildest battle for the White House, that references you and your feelings as you were watching President Biden in the debate. It says you could see what they saw even if you wouldn't say it. This is awful. He, this being you, Senator Coons, thought as the debate hit the halfway mark, damn, this is really not picking up. The back half wasn't as bad, he convinced himself, but it was hardly good. He knew he would be a lead member of the cleanup crew. And while Democrats peeing their pants was nothing new. They were right that the president had S the bed. Now, there are some people who've written on this, including Jim Garrity, the National Review, who say if you felt that way, maybe you shouldn't have criticized Democrats for their reservations about President Biden at the time. Do you wish you had done things differently at this point?
Well, John, obviously, if I had any idea that President Biden was going to perform as poorly as he did at that debate, I would have been advising him differently and advocating differently. That debate performance was the first time I saw anything like that out of President Biden. He had been and was a strong and capable president, and he still had strong public performances, interviews, and just the next day went to North Carolina and spoke forcefully at a rally. But I was shocked. I was genuinely surprised by that performance that evening,
Senator,
and was wrestling with what it meant for our path forward.
Senator, thank you, and I hate to cut you off, especially during that answer, but we're going to go to the White House and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. Thank you, Senator.